Well, under the leadership of our ranking member, Spencer Bacchus, he gathered a number of us together. A lot of research was done. A lot of conversations were had with people who participated in our marketplace. And we were able to put forth a plan, frankly, before the administration, before the Democrats, that was very thoughtful, very well received. And it's a plan that essentially does a few things. Number one, it says no more bailouts. America is tired of turning this into a bailout nation. Under the Republican plan, no more individual institutions are going to end up being bailed out. Second of all, it says quit picking winners and losers. Everybody is hurting in this economy. Yet under the Democrat plan, they still have the ability to pick and choose who's going to win and who's going to lose. That's just not right. Third of all, the Republican plan wants to empower consumers with greater disclosure. We want better enforcement of our anti-fraud or anti-deception laws. The Democrats instead want to go about and create a new office of consumer punishment, not consumer protection, that will actually give an unelected group of bureaucrats the power to take away your credit cards, to take away your mortgages, to say whether or not you can even get interest on your checking account. It's an outrageous provision. In addition, the Republican plan will put together a new chapter in the bankruptcy code so we can have a quicker, more efficient resolution of large, complicated financial institutions. The Democrat plan, on the other hand, is going to create really a systemic risk regulator that once they designate firms as systemically risky, will mean that those firms will enjoy the implicit guarantee of the federal government, just like Fannie and Freddie, and we will have more Fannie and Freddies, which will turn out to be the mother of all bailouts, costing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billion dollars of taxpayer money. That must be avoided. The Republican plan also says to the Federal Reserve, you need to pay attention to monetary policy. You need to pay attention to long-term economic growth. That gives us jobs and hope and opportunity. Instead, the Democrat plan gives them other responsibilities that takes away their attention and gives them the power essentially to be this systemic risk regulator. These are just some of the differences, but this is very important legislation. It's more important to get it done right than it is to get it done quick, and I am fearful that liberals who don't care about competitive markets, who don't care about empowering consumers, are going to try to rush things through. Well, they have to let their voices be heard. I mean, elections have consequences. Those who believe that America should be a bailout nation are in charge. Regardless, I voted against TARP. Some people voted for it, but whatever purpose it had back October, it's now nothing more than a $700 billion revolving bailout slush fund that the taxpayer is probably never going to see a dime back. Finally, some of the money's being paid back, and we are having a hearing today in financial services to take that money away from the taxpayer and instead send it to some of these foreclosure mitigation projects when 95% of America either rents, owns their home outright, or current on their mortgage, going to cause them to bail out the other 5%. You got to let your voice be heard. That you're tired of America being a bailout nation, that we cannot borrow and spend our way into prosperity. We're taking on more debt now than we've taken on since World War II. The Democrats in Congress have put forth a budget that will increase the federal debt more in 10 years than in the previous 220. We cannot borrow and spend our way into prosperity. I mean, what we're doing to our children and grandchildren, frankly, is just immoral. People ought to be outraged and their voices need to be heard. Well, the way to stimulate the economy is to allow the spirit of entrepreneurial capitalism to go out there and create new jobs. That would be tax relief for American families, tax relief for small businesses. We ought to zero out the jobs tax, which is the capital gains tax for people who will invest. Sure, I would support that, but if it's another government stimulus program, we ought to be rescinding the one that we already had. It doesn't work. Obamonomics is a failure. 9.5% unemployment, worst unemployment in 25 years. 2.6 million jobs lost since he became president. It is an abject failure, and we have got to move in a different direction.